Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to share with you the books that have absolutely so deeply transformed my life, and they can do the same for you. And if you are watching this right now thinking, how can a book transform my life? I'm here to tell you that the wisdom within these books, if you truly apply it to your life, you will find the exact same transformations where you will be living your best life. And yeah, it's the best. So let's go ahead and dive right into these books. So the first one that I want to talk about, which is a book that I would buy for anyone who is seeking a transformation in their life, this is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And this book actually, like the title says it all. This is how to become supernatural, how to do the unthinkable. He has so much research on neuroscience and quantum physics, and he really marries spirituality with science and talks about how to manifest and create miracles in your life that are doing the unthinkable. He has so much research on even people doing the most miraculous healings when it comes to their own health or when it comes to their life circumstances and doing things that once we thought were impossible. And he really breaks down the science and the research behind it. So if you want to create massive transformations in your life, this is the book for you. This is such an incredible one that has deeply transformed my life. I've read this time and time again. I keep coming back to this book because it is so good, and it also goes deep into some esoteric topics, but grounds them with science as well. So if you're into that, you are going to love this book. The next book that I would highly recommend is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you want to manifest more abundance, more wealth, more money into your life, if you want to live a more rich, fulfilling life, this is the book for you. It dives deep into how to manifest money and wealth and abundance. And when I first read this book, I was blown away by the sort of research that's within this. And if that is something that you're really wanting to do in your life, there's a reason why this is a best-selling book. It really works. And if you apply the wisdom within this, if you apply the techniques in your life, you will live a richer life than you've ever lived before and be able to tap into things that you might think are impossible right now. This really shows how anyone can create wealth in their life. And if you're thinking right now, well, that's not me. No, this book shows how to make wealth for anyone, no matter what your background is, no matter where you've come from, no matter where you currently are in your life. This book will break it down simply for you, and it is a must read in my opinion. The next book that I would highly recommend is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. When I first saw the title of this book, I thought that this was about manipulation and how to manipulate people. However, it is absolutely not. In fact, I think everyone on the planet should read this book because, for one, this teaches you how to be a decent human being, but then it also teaches you how to interact with people to create deep, meaningful, fulfilling relationships. It will also teach you how to communicate with people, such as maybe within business or within your work or within your career, in order to approach them with, hey, maybe I want a raise, maybe I want more creativity, more freedom in my career, etc., etc. This talks about how to approach those situations, how to get what you actually want out of those situations, while it also being beneficial and creating a strong bond and relationship to where people want to help you. They want you to succeed, but there's a way to approach all of those situations. There's a way to be a decent human being. And if you notice any conflict in your life at all, if you notice conflict in your relationships, this book will also shed light onto maybe why that is happening. And it all helps you realize what you can do to change internally in order to resolve conflicts, in order to get more of what you want, and in order to have more connection and fulfilling, meaningful relationships. This book will help people actually like you because it will help you change into a person that is actually really respectable and likable and all of that. The next book that I want to talk about, I do not have a physical copy of it, but it is also one of my favorite books that I've read in my entire life. This is another one that I would buy for anybody, and it is called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. This is incredible. I actually had this one on my Kindle, and I also listened to it on Audible, and it is mind-blowingly incredible. If you want to do an identity shift, and if you want to unlock more of your internal gifts and talents, or awaken gifts and talents that you didn't even realize that you had, this book is for you. If you feel held back by anything in your life, such as fears of public speaking, or feeling like you're too shy to do something, or feeling like you're not good enough for something, whatever it is in your life, however your current identity is, however you currently see yourself, if you want to transform that to become the person of your dreams, this is your book. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz will teach you all of that, how to unlock your greatest potential and how to step outside of the old identity that has kept you limited, and how to create a brand new self and step into that instead. The next book that I would so deeply and highly recommend is Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins. This is very transformative. If you've ever heard me talk about the scale of consciousness, which you may have seen on my videos or some other people's videos, it's really famous in showing how your emotions are actually tied to frequency and tied to certain levels of consciousness. And within this emotional scale of consciousness, there's a consciousness that is the force consciousness. If you feel like your life, you have to force things to happen, it feels like there's a lot of resistance in your life, it is actually because you're residing in the force level of consciousness most predominantly. And if you want to step back into your power, this book talks about how you can step back into your power, how you can use and rise up that emotional scale of consciousness to go into a more expanded state of consciousness where you can tap into new thoughts and ideas that can lead to more ease, more flow, and this feeling of really stepping into your power. So if you are struggling with a lot of resistance in your life, or it feels like things you have to really force in order to make them happen, this is going to be the book that transforms you the most right now, because it will teach you how to step back into your power. It's a bit of a lengthy read, and at times it can feel a little bit dry, but if you just make it through, this book is very, very worth it. The information within it is incredibly transformative. The next book is a bit more of a practical book, and this one is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. If you know who Tony Robbins is, he's an amazing life coach that can offer the greatest transformation. So many people go to his events to get the greatest transformations of their lives. And if you are into Tony Robbins at all, or if maybe you're thinking about going to one of his events but can't afford it because they're quite pricey, this book is like attending one of his events, because it walks you through all of the things that he's probably going to talk about within an event, but also walks you through the activities, the exercises, and different things that you can do to reflect and create those inner transformations. So if you are interested in this book or creating an inner transformation for yourself, I'd highly recommend getting the physical copy of this book, just so that you can do the exercises within this book, because it will require you to take pauses here and there. This book actually took me a long time to get through because of all the different pauses and deep reflections that you have to do, the different exercises that you have to do. But this one is so worth it for the transformation that it will bring to you if you actually apply and do the work that's within this book. This is truly how to awaken the giant within. If you want to awaken your power, if you want to call your power back and sort your life out to be more organized, more put together, and to be one where you are able to take action, have more confidence in yourself, and all of that, this book is so incredible on doing a self-transformation like that. I would highly, highly recommend it, but it does take a second to get through. You have to be committed, but it will offer one of the deepest transformations you will ever have in your life if you are dedicated. The next book that I would highly recommend is also on the practical side of things, and this is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This one is incredible in showing you how your habits compound over time. If you want to break certain habits in your life, if you currently have habits where you're like, oh, I hate that I always choose to eat unhealthy and then I feel like crap after, or I hate how I always have this pattern of choosing not to go to the gym or scroll on my phone or do this or do that. If you have a habit that you want to break, this book will show you all the ways to permanently break an old habit that you don't like. And if you've ever wanted to start a new habit, but it seems really hard to make it an actual habit, you might try new things, you might try to implement it, but then you fall off track with it. This book will also show you and give you all the resources and know-how to create permanent new habits that you really want, and how those permanent new habits can compound over time to create remarkable results in your life, to create exponential change in your life. So this is an incredible one for doing some practical shifts in your life. If you feel like there's habits you need to break, if there's habits that you really need to implement and you know you need to do that, this is the book for you. And while we're on the more practical side of things, the next book that I absolutely love is Time Magic. This book is incredible if you are currently struggling with time management, where it feels like you don't have time for the things that are most important to you, or you keep putting off certain things because it seems like your schedule is just way too busy and way too cluttered right now, that maybe you can't work on the project you really want. Maybe you constantly have to cancel plans with family and your loved ones because they're just overwhelmed with other things right now, etc., etc. Whatever the case may be, if you need some time magic in your life where you can just sprinkle on some more time to relax, get time for yourself, create more fulfillment, time for your family, time for your important projects, this book will tell you exactly how you can do that in your life. And I read this during a time in my life where I was feeling really overwhelmed with my schedule, and it felt like I did not have time for the big things that I really wanted to truly work on and also make time for myself and my family and my loved ones at the same time. I read this book and I had so many realizations, so many epiphanies on how to utilize my time in a way where I can make time for the things that I want. There actually is a way where you can tap into time magic and extract more time where you once thought that there was none. So this is such an incredible book for all of that. I, again, had so many epiphanies throughout it. So if you feel like what you need most right now is sorting out your time and your schedule to make time for what's most important, this is an incredible book. Diving back more into the esoteric realm of things, the next book that I want to talk about is The Law of Attraction by Abraham Hicks. This is actually by Esther and Jerry Hicks, but Esther channels and taps into a higher being, a collective being known as Abraham. And she channels information about how our universe works and how we can manifest and create the reality of our dreams. They actually have so many different books on the law of attraction and on manifestation. I have read them all. They are all incredible, but this is the first one that I would recommend anybody dive into at first. But if you've already dived into a little bit of them, I'd recommend checking out their other books too, because they're all really incredible and have amazing information that is simple, digestible, applicable, ways that you can actually apply manifestation to your life and understand it to its depth, because it is a complex topic, but they simplify it in such a beautiful way where you can really begin to understand how the law of attraction really works and how to create the life of your dreams. I highly recommend this one. This is just such a classic in my opinion, and it is also very well known for a reason, and that is because it has created remarkable changes for a lot of people. So I'd highly recommend this one as well. The next amazing book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This one talks about the power of the present moment. If you find yourself constantly living in the past, wishing that you could reinvigorate the past, or regretting your past or whatever, or if you find yourself constantly living in the anticipation of the future or the fear of the future, you're actually siphoning all of your power out of the present moment, because your power only exists in the present moment. So if we constantly find ourselves distracted by the past or the future, in whichever way, this book will enlighten you to how you are siphoning your power away and how you can actually call it back. And it talks about the power of now, it talks about the power of the present moment and how you can create massive shifts and changes in your life through bringing your energy and focus back to the present. And he talks about how to tap into the power that exists within the present so that you can, again, do all these massive shifts and changes in your life, and also how you can tap into the most incredible bliss that actually exists within the now. It doesn't exist in the past, it doesn't exist in the future, it exists right now. So this talks about that as well, and I'd highly recommend it. It is definitely a game changer in all of those aspects. Another book that I have to recommend is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This was actually one of his earlier books. Becoming Supernatural is a newer one, which is absolutely incredible, but this is the first one that I ever read of his, and it is also very incredible. So if you've already read one of his, I would highly recommend checking out one or the other next, because these books are incredibly transformative. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is exactly like it sounds. It is how to break the habit of being you, how to create an absolutely new you. So if you want to reinvent yourself, if you want to reinvent the reality that you experience, this is the book for that. I love the tagline, how to lose your mind and create a new one. So this is, if you really want a mental shift in your life, but you also want to experience a physical shift because of that mental shift, this book will show you exactly how to do that. He, again, marries science and spirituality together. So if you really want to know more esoteric concepts, but you also want the science behind it, the neuroscience, the everything to really ground this information, this book is so incredible. And it just goes into so many topics that are so relatable and so relevant in your life. And it, again, is life-changing. I was hooked on this book when I first got it, and I went on a Dr. Joe Dispenza binge after going into this one. And yeah, it's just really incredible. Highly recommend. And then the last book, which is one that I always have to recommend, is The Complete Book of Chakras by Cindy Dale. This is incredible. Again, it's more esoteric, of course. It's talking about the chakras, but so many people think that the chakras is just like these energy centers within the body, but they are so much more than that. The chakra philosophy and this particular book goes into how the chakras are actually correlated to your physical health. They're correlated to your emotional well-being. They are correlated to your mental well-being, and they're also correlated to what you experience in your reality. All of those things are intrinsically linked, and the chakras are actually a map that shows how your mind and your mental world and your energetic and emotional world is linked to your physical health and well-being, and also linked to the physical reality that you are manifesting. The chakras is actually correlated to all of that, which many people don't realize, but it is incredible once you start understanding how the chakras are literally a map to how all of those things correlate with each other. And if you ever experience a health issue, which at times in my life I've come across certain health issues, I will look at what chakra that is correlated with, and I will have so many epiphanies on how and why that physical ailment is manifesting, and then it will also give you the information on how to balance that and fix that. So if you are interested in any of that about how to heal your physical body in a more esoteric sense, and looking at the energetics of it, this book will definitely give you all of those epiphanies and information, and it will also help you understand your mental state, your emotional state, and the things that are manifesting in your physical reality, and how to change those, how to manifest a new physical reality, and understand how your chakras, how your mind, emotion, and all your behaviors are playing into creating that. So this book goes into all of those different things, and this is just incredible. I have so many tabs on this book. I have so many tabs on many books because of the information that is within them and how life-changing and transformative it is. I have also read this book, by the way, multiple times, just because there's just so much information to absorb. It's an incredible one if you're wanting to dive more into the woo-woo spirituality stuff and get to know more about how energetics work in the world. So that's one that I always recommend. So these are the books that I would highly recommend. If you've heard me talk about some of these before, that is just because these are my all-time favorites. And again, they are books that I would recommend to anybody because they are just so transformative and incredible. But I'm gonna definitely make future videos because I'm always reading new books, and there's tons of other books that I could totally add to this list, but these are like the all-time best ones that I have ever come across. So that is this list, and again, you can always come back to this video to see more books and get some more ideas about what to read next. But these ones are just such amazing books in my opinion. There are some books that I read where I'm like, that wasn't so great, or that was just like a repetitive information that I've read before in another book. These ones are so good in my opinion because they talk about things that I've never seen in another book. They talk about concepts that are really applicable in your life. They simplify it. It is digestible. It is something that you can take action on now. And they're books that have absolutely deeply transformed my life. And I know that they will absolutely deeply transform your life too if you really commit to them, apply to them, and keep an open mind when you are reading them. Oh, and if you have any books that you would recommend that I did not mention here that you are like, oh my God, that transformed my life, please leave them in the comments down below because I would love to read that. And I know that there's probably other people within this video that would probably love to get some more recommendations too. So drop that in the comments down below. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. And until next time, bye.